Do you hear that? Shh. Do you fucking hear that? That's the sound of a man not asking me what's for dinner.
Why are we all so messed up? Why? Why are we so fucked in the brains? How come when someone says, like, I like you, but I can't be with you right now, why do we want to be with them 10 times more? Like, aren't you supposed to want someone that wants you? So, like, is it the chase? Do we like the chase? Like, what? Why? Who taught us this? What went wrong in our childhoods?
Okay, you stupid, silly boys, listen up. I know you all like to complain about the girlfriend who keeps asking questions even though she knows you don't have the answers as well. For example, you're both watching a movie for the first time and she's like, what do you think will happen next? Stop complaining. She thinks you're smart and cool and actually capable of giving her an answer. Appreciate it. Because if she's anything like me, she's actually convinced that like 95% of people are just plain stupid, and it's a really big compliment if she thinks you're special enough to actually give her an answer to something, even though she probably knows you don't know. She still wants to hear your thoughts. Appreciate it, fucker. How would I know? Shut the fuck up! Make something up. It'll make her really happy. Oh, and if you're not capable of making something up, even though you don't know for sure, that proves her point. You're fucking stupid.
Welcome to the wall, brothers. Sometimes, watching videos of modern women, I realize that more than being a partner to them, they want something like a father figure. Many of them, due to not having a paternal figure in their childhood, have some mental issues as they grow up. Like this girl who sees that the guy rejects her or uses her, she wants him even more. This confirms what I'm saying to you, that women like the bad life. They become obsessed with men who don't provide comfort. That's why I tell you, anguish and uncertainty are their greatest allies. This is what the Chad does, a man who brings nothing to the table but his seed. This type puts them on an emotional roller coaster, giving and taking away his attention as he pleases. These women are always available to him. But many white knights don't understand this. They want to live like simps, giving everything to the woman. That's why they see her go into the hands of the worst man for her, because they love the bad life. The girl who asks why the man gets angry when she asks to watch a movie, well, look, spoiled child. When you see someone constantly asking you about something they are watching with you, it makes me understand that you have little intellectual capacity. Even though we are both watching the same thing, it's annoying to have to explain everything to you.
How to manipulate men. Warning, do not just use these on just anyone. These are only for the F-boys and the boys that are ghosting you. So in that case, go right ahead. If he asks you, if you've ever been here, if you're at a restaurant, if you are at a store, if you're at a certain location, or if he asks you where you got that, a piece of jewelry or something that could have been a gift, a new technology thing, whatever it is, okay? If he asks you, have you been there or where'd you get that? Start giggling. Be mysterious. Be very weird by it. Like, make him super suspicious. Be like, whatever. And he'll be like, wait, why aren't you answering my question? It's a simple question. But you're making it sound as if there's more to the story. And if you want to be really toxic, you can say, don't ask questions that you don't want the answer to. Because then that's gonna convince him that somebody else took you there on a date, or somebody else bought you that jewelry or whatever it was out of a present or a gift for you, assuming the gender or whatever that you're into bought it for you. So after that, he's gonna keep asking you, being like, what do you mean? Like, keep trying to poke the bear and poke you to like get the answers out of you. And you just keep having to like be giggly, be whatever, be like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter who got it for me, whatever, like, don't worry about it. And then at the end of that, some point he'll start dropping it, and he'll start dropping the whole questions asked or whatever, but it'll still be in his head. So he'll still be thinking about it. So you might not get the exact same thing from him or being taken to that place or whatever it was, but you bet your butt that he's gonna get something for you or take you somewhere, because he wants to be the person that you remember and have memories with and have gifts from and all that stuff. He doesn't want another man to have done that for you. So Jimmy's gonna act up and act right after this one.
Brothers, then they wonder why they are single. So many ideas from women to make the Chad choose them. It's like a need for pick me, pick me. If I have to be searching for tricks to manipulate someone into being with me, that says my self-esteem is really low. If a girl comes up with this nonsense, just tell her, "I'll be back after you order what you want to eat." Then you head to the bathroom and leave her with the bill so she learns not to play silly games with you. Discard her. If you want to be more direct, you can say, "I'm sorry, but I don't date women who constantly give their love to the public." If she tries to shame or guilt you, simply tell her, "I'm not part of your herd, I'm not your simp or your friend zone guy. I don't allow anyone to disrespect me, nor do I share my woman." Then you get up from the table and leave. Brother, never be afraid to discard. Always make your opinion clear and strong when something bothers you. That generates respect. It may generate anger and rage in the woman because things aren't going as she planned. She will see in you a man who doesn't play games. Like I said, even if it's a negative emotion, it's still an emotion. As the first girl said, we like guys who don't give us a chance. If you act like a doormat for the woman, she will keep manipulating you. But if you take a firm stand, she will respect you and won't play silly games with you for fear of losing you. After she does this, don't call her until she reaches out to you. Believe me, she will reach out because they can't stand a masculine man putting them in their place.
If you want to know if that person is the one for you, I want you guys to try something out that is definitely going to bring to your attention whether this person is right or wrong for you, but not even wrong. Just if this person is meant to be in your life at all. So basically, what I want y'all to do for yourselves is I want you guys to set up a secret password with God, with the universe, with source, with spirit, whatever you believe in. And I want you to purposely, intentionally set the intention that whenever you meet the right person or whenever the right person comes into your life, that it will be made very clear to you whether they are right for you or not, because they will end up repeating back to you the secret password that you made with spirit. So how this works is basically, I'm going to show you exactly how you would go about this. And also how it would happen back to you, okay? So the first thing that you would do is you would channel your source, let's say God, because I call my God God. You would simply say, "God, if this person or whoever comes into my life is meant for me, I would like for them to talk to me about how important angel numbers, specifically angel number 444, is to them." Or you can even say, "I want them to mention to me how cool it is that plants have freckles. I want them to tell me how much they love the color black. I want them to mention giraffes to me, zebras." Whatever it is, my love, I want you to understand that no matter how crazy or irrational or random, whatever it is, the password that you want to have is, if you are setting the intention that that person who's right for you is going to end up bringing it up in conversation, maybe asking you about it or whatever the case is, you must simply trust that they will. And trust me, guys, they absolutely will. It's not something you force. It's not something that you have to ask them about to see if they actually care, or if they'll mention it to you. You simply state the intention that they will mention it to you, and you have to trust that they will, because like I said, they will. You can mention colors, you can mention shapes, you can mention experiences, you can mention interests, whatever it is. Just set the intention that the right person will end up repeating it back to you, because they will. And they will care, and they will see you, and they will make it clear to you, whether they realize that they're making it clear to you or not. Their soul is going to make it very clear to you, because God is going to show you exactly what the deal's about. If you say they're going to, they're going to. That's it. You just got to trust that the right person will. And they definitely will.
Brothers, as one approaches the wall, they become more spiritual. It's because every day, things are getting worse. Now, to make a man stay with her, some resort to spells or weird witchcraft. Girl, where is your self-respect? It's because of things like this that you see men having bad luck with some women. These women keep doing things to them until they end up ruining them. We see this in many men, and you wonder, ever since this guy got involved with that woman, he's had bad luck that just won't go away. That's why you see them in toxic relationships. They can't get out of there. Some women resort to diabolical things to keep this man, even though I'm not a believer in this. I must say, if I believe in God, there's also a devil. Women are the ones who resort to this the most to try to keep a man, instead of moving on. That's why you sometimes see them in disastrous years with Chad, and they only distance themselves when the relationship turns physically abusive. Brothers, always pay attention to the woman's beliefs and what's in their homes. If you find strange altars, that's a huge red flag. But before we continue, brothers, we want you to support us in our goal for the next few months to reach 50,000 subscribers. We want our family to keep growing, so please help us by subscribing and liking the video, since this helps YouTube recommend our content more. Don't forget to leave your comments. So please stay tuned because this is where the video gets exciting.
Ladies, I know cuffing season is rolling around, but please proceed with caution, okay? I've been in my independent era for much too long. I think we're going on, what, like 4+ years? We've had some, like, ins and outs, but for the majority, I've been pretty independent for the last 4.5, 5 years. It's getting a little boring, but you know what? We proceed. We keep going. I feel like I'm a little too independent. I'm a little too comfortable here, you know? Like, it would take a lot for a man to enter my life and make me accept him and want him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just in my flow. I don't need no man to do things for me. I go out every week and I buy myself flowers. Can we take a second? This is the most beautiful flower arrangement I've ever done. I don't need a man to go do that for me. I don't need to beg and plead a man to do the bare minimum. I'm financially stable enough to do that on my own, to treat myself when I want to be treated. I cook myself incredible meals until a man can outcook me. But if he can outcook me, welcome. Enter the chat, here you come. But you know what, until then, until Mr. Right enters, we're just out here vibing. We do not need to lose ourselves to cuffing season. I'm trying to hang on to my people as much as I can. But if you find yourself a good one, go off, go flock.
Modern women, when they are closer to their 30s than their 20s, start wanting to find a man. Their biological clock makes them desire a partner to formalize things. It's normal to see these independent women who can handle everything on their own, without needing a man, express their desire for a man in their life. You may perceive these women as independent, capable of doing everything by themselves, but they are the ones who most desire a man to guide them and set some boundaries. Women love having a figure of authority in their lives. I don't mean being overly controlling, as nobody wants that. I mean the type of man who, on some weekends, says, "Today, you're not going out. You're staying here with me to watch a movie," or the man who calls and says, "Come to my place after work." Or the man who simply, when she's angry or upset at home due to a problem, tells her, "Calm down, I've got this." Women are often poor decision makers, which is why they appreciate a man who doesn't do his own thing and instead makes her do what he says. You might say this man is toxic and controlling, but when a woman has her masculine man by her side, she won't even let her friends get close. That's why you see women comparing their lives and a relationship with those of their single friends, and they say they are better off having a strong man in their lives. He has saved them from making bad decisions by firmly setting some boundaries. If you doubt it, just look at how a woman raised with a father in the home behaves compared to one raised by a single mother without a paternal figure.
Okay, bitch, let's talk about my top 5 dating boundaries. Number 1, I am not fucking sleeping with you unless you're my boyfriend. I used to believe so strongly that if they're the right guy, it won't matter when you sleep with them, but it's so fucking hard to figure out if they're the right guy so early on. So I'm fucking sorry, but unless you're my man, I'm not sleeping with you or doing anything with you besides kiss. Number 2 is no sleepovers. You're not staying at my place, I'm not staying at your place, I'm going the fuck home. That creates a false sense of intimacy, and I just don't want to do it. It also makes it harder not to do shit with them. Number 3 is no introducing them to family, and I'm not meeting your family. I feel like meeting family is such a privilege, and I value that so highly. I'm not just going to introduce a random man that is not my boyfriend to my family, and I don't want to meet your family either. Number 4 is no constant texting. This is something that I really had to get over because I love to text, especially if I like somebody. But that really creates a false sense of intimacy, and I don't want a fucking pen pal. Why should I be talking to you all day, every day if you're not my man? We should be texting here and there, calling here and there, planning dates, and seeing each other in person. Then as things start progressing, we can start texting more and more. I also used to think that if they weren't texting me 24/7, they didn't like me, and that's just not true either. But don't get that confused. They should still be putting in effort and making plans to see you, and if not, they probably just don't fucking like you. Number 5 might be a little controversial, but I'm not being exclusive to anybody who is not my boyfriend. If you want to be exclusive and not have me talk to other guys, then you can ask me to be your girlfriend. So many guys will ask to be exclusive when 1, they're not being exclusive to you, and 2, because they don't want you talking to other guys, but they still don't want to make you their girlfriend. So nah, not doing that shit.
The famous standards of women, these limits that they start setting when they are approaching their 30s and can no longer give themselves away purely out of emotion. Now, they need someone to buy the product because the free samples have run out. Brothers, the wall does not forgive. Like in supply and demand, women understand that if they increase the value of the product and make it scarce, it will be more valuable to men. In part, this may be true, but it's when the product has had 1 or 2 owners. Because a car that has gone through more than 10 owners, even if you paint the exterior, it's clear that with over 500 miles, it's pure junk you're buying. Now, what I'm telling you with this is that a woman changes her way of thinking when she's nearing 30 simply because she wants to find a beta provider who can offer long-term financial security. A man with whom she can have 1 or 2 children, get a house, and ruin it in the divorce. That's why they say, I won't be exclusive to you unless we're official, because they can't close the door to a potentially better prospect by settling down with you without your commitment. Remember, brothers, she's more concerned about time than you are. She doesn't want to waste her time if you're not the man who can provide something.
When will men understand that women do almost everything with an intention? Yeah, I posted a story. You think it was just random? No, it was for you. You to comment, you to like, you to slide in the DMs. What are you doing?
I heard a girl saying this on TikTok, and I have to tell you in case you didn't see her video. But she basically said that when a man truly loves you, he will fix it. Like, there's no such thing as like, oh, that sucks, or oh, sorry, babe. You don't feel good, he's like, what can I get for you? What can I do for you? What can I send you? What can I make you? Like, your tires popped, he's like, let me come get the car, let me help you fix your tire. Or, like, he's gonna take it to somebody to fix, you know what I mean? Like, he's never gonna, like, leave you stranded or leave you in a position where he can't help you in some type of way. So, if a man truly loves you, like, he's gonna make your life better in every single way. And that's just, like, the truth. And that's not, like, doing too much. The bar isn't too high. Like, no. Like, that's bare minimum. Like, there's no such thing as, like, oh, that sucks that, like, you have period cramps. Like, make me a tea. Heat up my heat blanket. Like, cuddle me. Like, simple. Simple.
Welcome to the wall, brothers. We can observe in the first woman that she is crying because the simps are not reacting to her story, nor are they sending her compliments on Instagram just for existing. I would like to believe it's because more men are waking up and ceasing to be simps, but we can infer from this that when a woman is interested in you, she will post everything to grab your attention. But the Chad never even follows her, which drives her crazy. The perfect man according to women is a servant or a daddy, whose sole purpose is to accommodate the woman's life. But brothers, how many men in the world haven't done this, millions and counting, only to see her go with the Chad, a man who brings nothing to the table except his seed? This man doesn't even make the slightest effort for her, yet he gets the full price, while the simp who constantly accommodates her will be lucky if she barely calls him to tell him what she's doing with the Chad. Brother, you are not here to accommodate any woman's life. The woman you should be helping is your wife or mother, not a woman who has no relationship with you. Don't be the simp, because if you start wooing a woman by trying to solve everything for her, she'll only see you as a fool and won't generate any attraction towards you.
Nothing in this world makes me want to come unhinged more than when a man ignores my texts. Like, you're blessed to even be speaking to me, and then you have the audacity to leave me on red. Like, who do you even think you are?
Single people really don't need to hear this advice anymore. This, along with the just keep working on yourself. You can make yourself a priority and be working on yourself and simultaneously want a romantic relationship. Like, the two are not mutually exclusive. I've been single for 10 years and I've been making myself a priority and working on myself for 10 years. I love my life. I love the freedom my singleness allows me. Hell, this year I traveled to London by myself for an entire month. And I do think it was because I was single that I was able to do that so easily. I didn't have anything tying me down here. And I don't think people who give this advice mean any harm. I think they're actually trying to be helpful. But I can promise you right now, every single person I know has been making themselves a priority and probably will continue to even once they're in a relationship.
Who do you think you are? You don't know who I am. The Chad, a man who brings nothing to the table except his seed, a man who ignores you, and yet you keep seeking, a man who only enjoys you and discards you when you're 30 or older or as a single mother, a man who goes against your rules and drives you crazy, but when he sends you a message, you'll go watch Netflix with him without hesitation, because clearly, I am the Chad, your bad boy who takes you on an emotional roller coaster, who sends you hurt to the beta. Provider. This second woman has been single for 10 years, doubts the advice to work on yourself. This doesn't really work on women because men are attracted to other things. But for men, this advice is beneficial because improving oneself means improving physical appearance, enhancing finances, reading more seduction books to improve game, upgrading wardrobe, which is better if in good physical condition, increasing income. In short, becoming a better man, the kind every woman wants but can't have because you choose who you want by your side. For women, no matter how much they improve, it doesn't matter as much if they're in their 30s hitting the wall because men aren't concerned about your financial future. We just want to know if you're wife material, if you'll take care of me, if there's a chance of having healthy children with you, if you can help with my life goals. Your money and finances, all that nonsense feminists tell you about becoming a strong, independent woman, really, I don't care. Remember youth, fertility, beauty, acts of service towards your man, nothing more.
Okay, I need to know if this resonates with you. I was supposed to get married earlier this year, and I called the wedding off 2 weeks before because I felt this insane, intuitive sense that it was not the right thing for me to do. It took a lot of courage. It took a lot of bravery. The wedding was already planned in Italy. It was like destination, giant 5-day wedding, huge thing. And I called it off because I was listening to that intuition that I felt so strongly. Since then, I've moved to Italy to heal and grow and really lean into this transformation that I'm experiencing within myself. This experience has got me thinking a lot about the milestones that society puts on young women to achieve in order to have a full life. These milestones to me feel like graduating college, finding Prince Charming, securing the ring, getting the dress, having the big wedding, having a baby. I feel like as a young woman, you're sort of put this pressure on yourself to achieve those milestones. And if you don't achieve them, you're a failure and you are not going to have a full life. We just search for this Prince Charming that's just going to sweep us off our feet. And then we hope for this wedding and da-da-da-da-da. And once we get those things, we end up being severely unhappy because we're not listening to our intuition and following the path that we should really be on. Why aren't the milestones more like discovering who you really actually are, not based on some pressure put onto you by the world we live in? Why isn't it like hiking Mount Kilimanjaro or whatever? Like it could be whatever you want it to be. That's the whole point in life, is to follow your heart and do what you want to do, not what society makes you think you have to do. So for me, I am throwing away all of these societal milestones that I felt like up until this point I needed to achieve. And I'm going to create my own milestones. I'm going to turn within. I'm going to follow my intuition. I'm going to follow the signs that the world gives me to keep me on the path of alignment. And I'm going to create my own milestones. And I hope that you do the same. I hope that you don't fall prey to this pressure that we're all experiencing as women. And I hope that you actually make your life magic. Because when you are fully in tune with yourself and this power that you have within you, your life will feel like magic.
Brothers, this seems like a tall tale, more fake than ever. A woman who looks to be nearly 35, if not older, rejected her dream wedding in Italy because she had a hunch? Do you guys believe this? What I see is a woman who concocted a wonderful story, or in the best case scenario, the man dumped her. Now that she won't get him, she's coming up with a discourse from the rainbow-haired movement, where society oppresses you as a woman, suggesting that following the path of being a wife and mother will only make you unhappy, when according to her story, that's what she was looking for. Because they say getting married is something forced by society, most often blaming men for this. But when a man suggests living together without marriage, women immediately want to discard you, or they say they don't want a relationship that doesn't lead to marriage, or they start attacking the man to get married. Because what man wants to sign that contract with the devil, leaving you more broken than a mortgage loan? No one wants to sign that, because it's not in the man's best interest at all. And you're telling me about a woman who hit the wall. We all know the wall doesn't forgive. You rejected the big wedding because your spidey sense told you it wasn't right. Please. But before we continue, brothers, we want you to support us in our goal for the next few months to reach 50,000 subscribers. We want our family to keep growing. So please help us by subscribing and liking the video, since this helps YouTube recommend our content more. Don't forget to leave your comments. So please stay tuned, because this is where the video gets exciting.
I was at a friend's 30th today and I was talking to her dad and he was saying, Lani, I just don't know how you're single. And I was like, Rob, you're telling me. Either do I. And he was like, well, you are a bit intimidating. And this is my most hated thing that I ever hear, because when you guys will meet me in real life, you will see I am one of the nicest people in the entire world. And I was like, what do you mean? Am I not one of the most approachable people you've ever met? And he was like, yeah, but like, I don't know, you're still intimidating. Admittedly, I'm 5'10". I got a lot of ass. I think my stature could potentially be intimidating if someone is a short king. But other than that, I don't think there's anything intimidating about me. I'm confident. I'm smiley. I can talk to anyone. Is that intimidating? Anyways, we went back and forth about it. And I was like, do you know what? Maybe I am intimidating to weak men. And they're not the type of men that I want anyway. So whoever's listening to this, because I know I'm not the only female in the entire world that gets told this, are you intimidating or are they intimidated? And if they're intimidated, then they're a weak little bitch that you don't want to be with anyway, so it's fine. Here's to intimidating women. May we be them, may we raise them.
Brothers, if this keeps up, you'll see women in a few years approaching men themselves. It's not that you're intimidating, it's that men are taking their own path. Many simply abandon dating. This father didn't want to be cruel to his daughter by not hurting her feelings, but he knows she's hit the wall, that she should lower her standards because the wall doesn't forgive. Surely the father saw that she has high masculine energy. He wanted to tell her to lower her standards to see if she could give me a granddaughter. Because no one wants to see their daughter as an old maid, especially hitting the wall at 30. Because we all know the wall doesn't forgive, even her dad. The statistics say that by 2030, 45% will be single brothers. I believe it will be more. Every day we see women showcasing their single life of travels, big concerts, and a fabulous life. But remember two things, that happens only a few days of the year, even just one day. They enjoy 10 days a year, they spend 355 days in sadness. Just notice that they always mention ages like 30, 35, and by 40, here comes the tearful video. It's like it's become a little instruction booklet they're sold on how they end up single and hitting the wall, because the wall doesn't forgive.
So, quick PSA, the monster that you saw at the end of the relationship is who they are. Genuine people remain kind even at the end of relationships. Truly kind, respectful, and genuine people remain that way at the end of relationships because that's their core. That's who you are. You care about the impact you have on others. If there's cruelty and abuse shown at the end of the relationship, that's because the beginning person that you met at the beginning of the relationship, that kind person, that was the manipulation. And you're finally meeting the real human being because they no longer could get anything from you.
I can only laugh at this. Do you know how many men are deceived by women who sell them the idea of being a good wife? We only see their change in attitude once they get the ring because they put on a whole act of being a good woman until they get the ring. Because many don't want to be a good wife. They just want to show off a fancy ring to say they're married. They're like, if the ring is cheap, they don't want to get married. So, you ask yourself, what are they really looking for? To be with me or an Instagram-worthy wedding? If you think it's a lie, just look at how many millionaire men fell into this trap without a prenup. You'll realize that for every stupid millionaire man who got married, a new empowered millionaire woman was born. Coincidence? Clearly not. Just look at the top 50 richest women in the world, and you'll see that about 30 of them got there through divorce. So, who's deceiving whom? Who's the one saying, I'll love you for life in their marriage vows, but then asks for a divorce within 5 years? It's not said that 80% of divorces are initiated by women for no reason. So, with the woman you see at the beginning of the wedding, believe me, she's not the one you'll end up with.
Ever since I heard this theory, I cannot get it out of my mind. Men marry the woman in front of them at the time they are ready to get married. Let's talk about it.
So I was scrolling through TikTok one day, as we all do, and I came across this photographer. She's obviously been at a lot of weddings, and she observed that the men were marrying the woman in front of them at the time that they were ready to get married, implying that that wasn't necessarily that man's soulmate or that man's love of his life. It was just the girl he was dating at the time he was ready to get married and settle down. Like, when you decide, especially a man, when a man decides that he is financially and emotionally ready for marriage and ready to settle down and ready to start a family, he takes a way different approach to dating. That part in his brain of like, oh, there's another girl out there, shuts off. Because now his focus is on marriage. It's not in finding the next best thing. Are y'all following? Like, do you agree? Do you disagree? I need to know.
Welcome to the wall, brothers. As a man, it's quite common to hear the saying, become a man and stop making foolish mistakes. This usually comes from a male figure in our lives, telling us to learn to take responsibility for our lives and to stop complaining. Women don't like to take responsibility for their decisions because, as we all know, it's their kryptonite. When a man enters a relationship and tells a woman he doesn't want to get married, I wonder, what do they hear? Why do they still expect a ring from this man when he has just made his intentions clear? But they love dating the Chad, a man who brings nothing to the table except his seed. They continue out of excitement, thinking that he will change for them, but this man doesn't change. There are also men who have clear goals and timelines. A man coming from a middle-class or lower-middle-class family knows that if he doesn't build his fortune in his youth, he will face significant challenges in his old age. What does this man do? He postpones any commitments that might interfere with achieving that goal. I'm not saying that marriage prevents a man from achieving what he wants, but it's more challenging because having children and a wife means more financial responsibilities. And it's even worse if you get married in your 20s without achieving anything. When you're in your 30s and finally starting to see some results, your wife gets bored with you and files for divorce, setting you back to square one.
Men marry the woman in front of them at the time they are ready to get married.
No, the right girl just convinces you that you're ready to get married. She kind of slowly moves in. She sends you messages all the time about what ring she wants. How did I know what ring to pick out, huh? How did I know, Brittany?
Men marry the woman in front of them at the time they are ready to get.
From a genealogy and historical perspective, this is actually somewhat true. This is also partially why I truly believe playing games does not work. Playing games is good for the short term, not the long term. I know many of us want to play the cool girl right at the beginning of a situationship, a relationship, dating, but it is so important at the beginning of any type of relationship to set expectations and say, I am dating to marry, not dating to mess around. And with that, then the guy will come back and say, well, I'm not ready to date right now. I'm just looking to hook up, fool around. And then from there, it's your decision whether you want to do that or whether you want to walk away. Playing games might make him more interested in you in the short term and might make him want you more, not necessarily want you in terms of a relationship type of way, but like want you sexually, want you, it's kind of, playing hard to get. But once he has you, the game is over. No matter what, if he is not ready to get married, playing games won't work, because once he has you and he knows you want a relationship, if he's not ready, he's not going to be in a relationship. It doesn't even matter if you are the perfect girl for him. Setting expectations clearly at the beginning of any type of relationship will help prevent many broken hearts in the long term.
In short, ask the man where this is headed. Listen to his answer, because if he said he doesn't want to get married, that man won't change. This frustrates women a lot because they are very aware of their biological clock. They want to ensure they secure a ring that provides long-term financial security with the man's assets. It's not that this is wrong, because everyone enters a relationship with their own goals. For example, a man entering a relationship wanting to have children with this woman. Now, most women in their 20s want to play games, date different guys, and don't invest in a man's potential. This leads them to search for the winner, just waiting at the finish line. The problem is when a man falls into that top 20%, he knows he's experienced all the flavors in the ice cream shop and won't be eager to commit. That's why I don't believe in dating coaches' advice because you see men over 30 if they're of high value. A man only desires to get married when he wants to have children, which is typically in his 30s or later because he knows he needs an heir. He will then look for the woman who brings him more peace. What frustrates women, especially when they've been with a man for years, is that he didn't choose her for marriage. But what happens is that you paid more attention to what the man brings to the table rather than taking care of the man. Unfortunately, they don't want to understand this.
Marry the woman in front of them at the time they are ready to get married.
I totally agree with this, and I've talked about this before, how men oftentimes will meet somebody that they think is so great, but they won't pursue them or they won't let it get to a serious level because they aren't ready yet. If they meet you and they really fucking like you, they really think you are the greatest ever, they think that you hung the moon, they respect the shit out of you, but they're not ready to settle down, why would they enter into a relationship with you knowing that it's going to be the last relationship they ever had? And I know that there's going to be men and women coming for me saying that, no, if he likes you that much, he will make it work. No, I have watched it in my life. I've seen it in my mother's life. My mom was so in love with this man. She was with him for 5 years. They bought a house together. But he couldn't marry her. He wasn't ready to get married. He never got married. Never, because he was never ready. But he bought a house with her. He still called her on her birthday for years after they broke up. He is still trying to get in touch with her, but he wouldn't marry her because he wasn't ready. So often, people encounter someone that is so wonderful that they really like, but they aren't financially situated or they aren't ready to settle down because they've still got some partying in their system that they want to do. I was with my ex and I would never have ended things with him. I loved him so much and I'm a very loyal, committed person. But I always wondered, will I ever get to date somebody else? And it wasn't because I didn't love him or want to be with him. It was just because I hadn't gotten to do that. I was in a serious relationship my entire 20s. So, people have reasons why, they have to figure out their career. They have to take care of an ailing family member. There are things that keep people from feeling like they can invest in a serious relationship. That is just the reality. And if it makes you feel better to think if he wanted to, he would, and he doesn't, so he doesn't want to, and that empowers you, then you should absolutely keep believing that. And maybe that is the case, because sometimes it is the case. But for so many people, the reason why he doesn't pursue you or she doesn't pursue him is because they just aren't ready. And they see this person as somebody who they would want to be with potentially for forever because that's how great they are. But they don't want to be in that end all be all forever relationship yet. That's scary to them because they haven't figured out so much of the rest of their life. So anyway, I totally agree with this. I've seen it play out in multiple situations with lots of people. Again, if he wanted to, he would is a false blanket rule to me.
Brothers, women don't understand that nowadays men have a fear of marriage syndrome. Yes, because we see day after day, men ruined by this, by women who haven't been faithful. So women get angry when a man doesn't give them the ring, but not every man is ready to hand over the keys to his potential downfall. Here, I want you to notice something. Did her mother love this man? Or did she love what he brought to the table? As I mentioned, some men don't get tired of certain women because these women focus more on what the man has to offer rather than taking care of the man. Because there isn't a man in the world who doesn't want to be with a woman who genuinely cares for, admires, and appreciates him. Because her mother was already enjoying the benefits of being a wife. He bought her a house. They lived together. But she wanted the notarized power of the state, where she could leave him in ruins if he decided to leave. The ironic part is that this man knew she wasn't the right one because she left. I bet you if that man told that woman who wants to get married so badly to sign a prenup, she wouldn't want to marry him anymore. I can guarantee you that, brothers. But before we continue, brothers, we want you to support us in our goal for the next few months to reach 50,000 subscribers. We want our family to keep growing. So please help us by subscribing and liking the video since this helps YouTube recommend our content more. Don't forget to leave your comments. So please stay tuned because this is where the video gets exciting.
And marry the woman in front of them at the time they are ready to get married.
My mom has been talking about this for years, and as a kid, I never understood what she was saying, but as an adult, I fucking get it. She has always been saying it has nothing to do with love half the time. It is proximity and timing. And I learned that the hard way. I was dating a guy many months ago, and we broke it off. He moved. That was the end of it. He ended up getting married, and I thought, okay, well, I guess he loves her, and that's just what that is. 3 years later, he contacted me to say, you know, you were the one that got away. And I said, I don't fucking understand. Like, you had me. And he was like, I wasn't fucking ready. And when I was ready, she was there. We got married, and she was the total wrong one for me. And this isn't about man bashing. We're not sitting here being like, fuck men. Like, this is just purely what it is. And it's just something that we've had to accept. And that's why even Sex and the City had the yellow cab light theory, was that when a cab light is on and the first girl to get into it gets the guy when he is ready. You could literally be the most incredible and a mind-blowing human being to ever exist. If a guy doesn't want a relationship or just isn't ready, he's not going to see you any differently. And it's enough of that antiquated thinking of, well, if he really wanted you, he would, because that takes the power away from you as well as who you are as a person. It diminishes you, as if there's anything wrong with you that this person couldn't see that. So it's time for us to put ownership on the people that the onus belongs to being, which is the men that are not ready. And that's totally okay if somebody isn't ready. But it's also just being cognizant and understanding that just because an ex that you might have been with ends up getting a girlfriend after doesn't necessarily mean it was a better connection. That just means that they were ready, and that was the person at the proximity and timing that was there for them when it happened.
This makes me laugh because women call this being the woman in the process or the interim woman. It's the woman a man has on his path to improvement, who he ends up changing when he succeeds for someone else who reaps all the rewards of what you've been waiting for with this man for so long. But she complains about it, even though it's the man who does it, not her. How many times have we seen women marry their rebound relationship or the safe option, which is usually the beta provider, a well-positioned man who plays the knight in shining armor, saving women on the wall? Women who have fun with the Chad, after giving years of their lives to this man, seek a financially secure man to marry, sometimes without loving him, just because he's better than nothing. It's more common than you think because we all know that men marry for love, while women marry for a lifestyle. So, when she uses you as the rebound or the safe option, marries you, takes everything, and then divorces you to go back to her ex who mistreated her just because he's the man she loved, well, that's fine because it's something a woman did. And she deserves to be happy. The irony, brothers.
Never date a man because he's ready to get married. Seriously, that is the...
This is why I find it very hard to be offended when a man doesn't like me, because I think I'm honestly like the smallest part of the equation. It's hard to take something personal that's so deeply impersonal to the person on the other side. Most women you talk to will be like, you know, I want to find my person, I want to fall in love, whatever. Most men will just be like, I want to get married and have kids. And while inherently that seems innocent, like, if those two things are check marks on a list, the list keeps going, the list doesn't stop. Married, kids, and then what do they do? Because I see the guys that didn't want me in college that got married to some girl that they met. They did. They checked that box off. And it's weird. Now they're still married and they're watching my Instagram stories and trying to add me on Snapchat. I hate the notion that, like, women don't want to get married. That's not true. That's literally not true at all. I don't want to get married to someone who doesn't like me, which doesn't feel crazy to say. Like, my biggest nightmare is going up to my husband someday and being like, what is your favorite thing about me? And him being like, I love how you clean the house. Like, what? And I get it. If you are just looking for a wife, everything that I am, independent, willing to do it on my own, willing to call you out on bad behavior, like, that is nightmarish. Nightmarish to a man who just wants a wife. So the next time you go on a first date and you never hear from that man again, honestly, it probably had absolutely nothing to do with you, and just keep it moving.
She is right to some extent, but in today's modern world, women seek well-positioned men. If you can desire a man with money, why can't I desire a beautiful, young, fertile woman who is willing to serve me or wants to take care of me? Because many men genuinely feel the urgency to have children, not necessarily to get married. If you can achieve the former in a common-law relationship, the latter doesn't seem as important. It also happens that women have this idea that men don't analyze their actions. They are in relationships with women who have never prepared them a meal or genuinely done something for them. They only make demands. Men see that the only thing these women offer is their presence in their lives, which is shared with Instagram and the simps who follow them rather than their own boyfriends. So, she gets upset when this man leaves her because she's not material for a wife. It's because these women are more focused on showing off a ring and saying they're married to their friends than doing the things a true wife would do for her man. That's why the man doesn't marry you. He goes for the next woman who does show what you lacked, as I mentioned earlier, who doesn't focus on what the man brings but concentrates on taking care of the man. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. If you're married, why did you choose to marry her and not another woman before your wife? What are your thoughts on marriage currently? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from The Wall.